So hello everybody. If you are feeling anxious about an upcoming event, or if you notice you tend to feel anxious when you've got something on, it could be something big, something like a wedding, or it could be something seemingly small, like going to the bathroom. When you're living with conditions like ME, CFS, fibromyalgia, long COVID, these can feel overwhelming. And that makes sense because your body has likely learned that certain experiences can bring symptoms, crashes, or even feeling a loss of control. And I'll talk a bit more about neuroplasticity in a bit, but the brain is an energy saving mechanism. And so if the brain sees that certain events make us respond in a certain way, the brain thinks, we want to respond in that way. So it starts to make that response easier, okay? So your nervous system may respond with signals that are communicating that you don't feel safe, that you experience fear. And that discomfort can result in overthinking. Maybe we are planning and seeing if we can find solutions, but we can overthink things. I remember when I had ME/CFS and I had a wedding coming up, I worried about it for months. Partly because I was going to be performing a song at the wedding with my dad, my brother and my nephew. But, it was something that I was playing on my mind a lot. And I did actually manage to do it. And I practiced a technique that I'm going to share with you. And that made a massive difference. By the time I stood up, I actually just enjoyed it and felt pretty comfortable. So this video is here to help you pause, listen to that part of you that's scared, and gently lead it through the situation with support, compassion and care. So if you're watching live, do feel free to say hello. If you're watching the replay, put hashtag replay. So let's talk about common events that can trigger anxiety for people with ME, CFS, fibromyalgia, long COVID. You're not alone if you feel tension around medical appointments, family gatherings or parties. I used to find family gatherings pretty stressful. Okay, traveling or car journeys, weddings, funerals, social events. Physical activity, even if it's small activities, doing stretching or walking, using the bathroom, taking a shower. I remember working with a client who was anxious about taking a shower, and so I walked her through a number of strategies, and she actually got to the point where she was relaxed and comfortable taking showers, and it actually had knock-on effects. She was able to leave the house and sit outside. Might be phone calls or video text, unexpected visitors. The list goes on. So feel free to share what is a challenge for you that kind of falls into that category of this is something I will worry about. I was working with someone a while back who had a lot of anxiety about going to the dentist. She managed it. And so, yes, some might feel that these are silly or too small to worry about, but they're not. Okay? Every one of them can tax an already exhausted nervous system, especially if you've got some history. Okay, so I want to share 7 steps. Okay, step 1 is to bring in compassion. Even with all the tools that you learn, there may still be fear or symptoms. That's not a failure. It simply means your system is doing its best to keep you safe and to let you know it's not feeling safe. Okay, so I invite you to say to yourself, if you notice that, it's okay to be scared. It's okay to be experiencing these symptoms. I was chatting to someone this morning about this. One of the things I learned that was a really important lesson for me is the more I could relax into the symptoms I was experiencing, the more those symptoms would soften. Okay? So say to yourself, it's okay to be scared. I'm doing my best. I'm worthy of care, of pausing, tuning in, no matter what happens. I allow myself to rest when I need to. So beginning there can settle the nervous system and create a grounded foundation for the steps that follow. So the following steps are all about neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to change with use. So we can rewire the brain. So we change the way we respond to things, shifting from a stress response to a regulated response. And I was definitely at one point in that stress response category. Okay. And I've learned to be more regulated. Still get triggered by things, but I know more about how I can identify what's going on so I can shift that. I remember a time I was feeling really stressed about a situation. It was involving needing to take legal advice. I had a lodger who was, causing problems and stuff. And I had this kind of breakthrough moment where I just thought, well, actually, you know what? I suppose there's part of me that's worrying about the finances or thinking, I don't want to have to pay a solicitor or whatever. And at a certain point I thought, you know what, if that's what's going to give me reassurance, let's just pay that money. I know it's quite a lot of money and I'd rather do other things with it. But just making that decision actually eased things. So shifting from the stress response to a regulated response helps the nervous system regulate. And this supports healing. When we achieve nervous system regulation consistently, this actually builds our capacity to do more. And every week I'm talking to people who experience that. Last week I was chatting to someone who 6 months ago wasn't leaving the house, and now they're working again. Part-time, but they're taking that step. And I was chatting to another person this week who's also re-entering the workplace. So it's important to understand that if we think about an event and respond with stress, that we don't wire that response. So let's just kind of look at what that looks like. So let's just, what have I done? Oh, sorry, I've gone to the wrong thing. All right, so I've made a slide on this. I see some people have joined. Feel free to say hello in the chat. But consider we've got this black neuron, okay? And the signal travels along that black neuron. It can either go down up the red path or to the green path, okay? And here's what happens if we keep let's say, every time I think about, and this happened once, I was a best man at a wedding. Every time I thought about it, I generated stress, okay? So if I keep practicing that, then that neuron gets, the black neuron and the red neuron gets closer and they get thicker and therefore faster. So I can generate that stress and anxiety more quickly. And that green pathway, which is the pathway to calm and confidence and joy and love, actually starts to shrink and it moves further away. So it's easier to do that unhelpful response. And that's what I did when I was best man at my wedding. I didn't know all about this stuff. I kept 6 months before the wedding, I was thinking about the wedding and getting stressed. When I actually was giving a speech for the father and the bride, actually I practiced the technique I'm going to share with you. And again, I just kept practicing it. Every time I noticed myself tense up. And what it meant is by the time I stood up, I felt 95% my normal, calm, relaxed, confident self. All right. So good news is we can change that by changing our response to events. And as I say, I'm going to talk you through how to do that and how you can get your hands on a free resource. Then we can actually start to rewire the brain to make it more easy to do that resourceful response. Okay, so let's go back. All right, so how do we do that? First of all, and this is step 2, it's important to acknowledge the fear without kind of being led by it. All right, so we can start by noting what's coming up in your mind and your body when you think about this event. Okay, just notice, what is the sensation in my body? What emotions do I notice? What thoughts am I having? It might be will this make me worse? What if I crash? What if I can't get through it? What if people expect too much? What if I make things worse? Okay? And you might think that the solution is to kind of bat those thoughts away. But actually, I would say it's actually useful to get curious about those thoughts, to lean towards them. Okay? We might say, I hear you. I know that you're trying to protect me. Thank you. I've got this. All right. So we can recognize that there's a scared part of us. It might be, we might think of it as our young self. Okay. And this actually starts to create some space between the part of us that is feeling fear and your deeper, wise self. The part of you that's capable of calm, of taking leadership. Okay. So number 3 is to identify the specific stresses. Okay. So being compassionate and curious, we want to ask ourselves, what part of this is stressful to me? Because feeling stressed, just experiencing that stress but not really tuning into what is this about, doesn't help us shift it. And as I was explaining earlier, by getting clear on how I was generating anxiety, I was able to do something about it. It might be, I remember someone saying that when they went to shopping malls, that they found the stimulation, the lights, the sounds, the smells, there's this music, all a bit much. Okay, might be social expectations, might be the physical exertion part that you're concerned about, the unknowns, not having control of, when you can actually take some time out. All right. So writing these things down could just help you shape your concerns and bring clarity. And clarity is very powerful, okay, as I described earlier. Okay, so step 4 is now to acknowledge other possibilities. We tend to make negative predictions. Let me know if that you recognize that's something that you're really good at times, making negative predictions. Certainly I was, I would be imagining the scenario not going well, like, being the best man at the wedding, the speech not going well, and athletes say, why would I imagine something going wrong? Okay. There's a story about a high diver who said, oh, do you want to watch that video of where you did it wrong? And I think he bashed his head against the board. And he said, no, why would I want to put that image in my head? All right. Now, obviously, you might learn from watching the video, but, I get what you're saying. All right. So, but consider that we tend to make negative predictions, but often overlook that the outcome could be neutral or even positive. Okay. So we're just focusing on that negative possibility without recognizing there might be a neutral one or a positive one. And I remember working with someone who was, he would literally be saying, when I get on the bus, I'll probably get into an argument with someone. I said to him, how often has that happened? And he said, oh, it's never happened. But this is what he was doing. He was very good at predicting the negative. And I said, well, what about the possibility that you just have a neutral experience or a good experience? You might have a nice chat with someone. Okay? So continually generating those negative predictions helps keep the nervous system on alert, helps to train your brain to get better at doing that. Considering those positive or neutral possibilities helps open the door to seeing things from a wider perspective. And this can help regulate the nervous system, okay? Considering those positive or neutral possibilities helps regulate the nervous system. And as I said earlier, that can help you build capacity, okay? So each time you catch yourself imagining the worst case scenario, so when I was thinking about giving the speech, Father of the Bride, I wrote down the 5 things that might go wrong. Or when I had to sing a song at a wedding, I wrote the 5 things that would go wrong. Then I wrote the 5 other opposite possibilities. So instead of my voice might be weak, my voice might be strong. Instead of I might look silly, I might look good. And so every time I was doing the negative things, I just paused, took a breath, breathed, allowed my body to relax, and said these things to myself. And actually that did help me relax. Okay? And that, what I've shared, is just a very brief outline of the resilient mindset method. If you'd like it, it's a free resource. Comment RMM below. Romeo, Mike, okay? RMM. And I will share it with you. If you're watching on YouTube, sometimes I don't see the messages, so I will post the link below this video, okay? So maybe I'll just highlight that to remind me. Let's highlight that in a bright colour. All right, so step 5 is mental rehearsal. Again, going back to the point I've just made, often we mentally rehearse things going wrong. Okay, so we could counter that by imagining it all going well. And this is a highly effective nervous system tool. We know that athletes use mental rehearsal, and your body reacts to your imagination. Your body reacts to imagined stress as if it were real. And it also responds to imagined safety. So if I imagine lying on the beach, seeing the blue sky, breathing in the air, hearing the sounds of the waves, I can already feel some relaxation in my body, okay? So find a quiet moment, breathe slowly. Imagine preparing carefully. Everything unfolding preparing calmly. Okay, so let's say wedding, I just imagine getting my suit ready the night before, ironing the shirt, polishing the shoes, or doing that a couple of days before. So at the morning it's all ready. I just imagine getting dressed in a relaxed way. And I remember actually when I was best man at this wedding, we kind of ate and then we got all ready and we sat around for half an hour before we left the house, and it was quite nice just to allow myself to have that relaxation rather than, I must rest. All right. So listen to your body with kindness. Imagine yourself recovering well afterwards, experiencing support around you. You might have a little mantra like, I can handle this with care and presence. I trust myself to notice what I need. And this can build a new expectation. Maybe this will be okay. So step 6 is cultivating that safety in a particular way. And that's by meeting our needs. Okay? So this is about problem solving, putting gentle, practical strategies in place. So once you've understood what the issues are, then it's important to explore what things can I do to support myself, no matter how small. So the emotional brain, which is the job of the emotional brain is to keep you safe and fulfilled, is always looking for us to take action that meets our needs. And when it sees that we're doing that, it will turn down symptoms. And so when we do that consistently, with time we can experience energy, well-being and health. And we can even experience it in those moments. So maybe you've had a time where you were experiencing stress and you had some connection with someone and you kind of got lost in the connection, enjoyed the connection and felt better for it afterwards. Okay? So consider some practical steps. I really encourage people to brainstorm, write down as many ideas as you can come up with, and then choose which ones feel good for you. All right. So for instance, if it was a social event, getting clarity about what you actually want to do, having a kind of exit strategy if you need it. I remember one time when I had ME/CFS and I went to a wedding I just thought, right, actually, I'm going to miss the service. Now, it's a big shame that I missed the service. But actually, what I remember now is going to the reception and having a nice time. All right. And actually, at that point, I didn't know all this stuff about how I can influence my mind, body, and physiology that I now know. All right. So I remember working, as I say, this client who had found shopping malls, overstimulating. What we looked at, number one, is for her to be practicing all those things that I've been talking about to help her nervous system be more regulated, because that can build capacity. And she might approach it playfully. She might just go into the mall for a minute or two to begin with. She might wear some sunglasses if she needs to, if it's too bright. She might just soften the noise by putting some earplugs in. The next time she might do that, she might loosen the earplugs, or a few times. So she was building safety. And by building safety, this is safe, this is good. We start to relax more, and we find that we can do more. All right. The first time I went to a meditation class, which was very much out of my comfort zone, leaving the house, driving there, I felt pretty anxious. So it's quite ironic going to meditation class, feeling anxious about that. But actually, I went to the class, I did some meditation that helped me relax. And by the 6th time I'd gone, it was just completely comfortable. I felt totally relaxed about doing it. Okay, so consider what strategies you can put in place. If it's traveling, what things you can do. I had a client who just reclined the seat and put some noise cancelling headphones on, listened to a really nice guided relaxation or music, and it just helped her navigate that with much more ease. Okay, so consider what steps you can take. You can take small steps to actually help you build up to being able to do more. And I have made videos about how to approach movement and activity in a sustainable way, so check out those videos on my YouTube channel. Okay, so brainstorm, choose some ideas. All right, so step 7 is to build in deep regulation before and after. So if the event is something you choose to do, or it's unavoidable for some reason, maybe like going to the doctors, you can help your body build safety and reconnect to that safety. Some simple strategies are putting your legs up, the wall pose, that can just help your body relax, guided meditations, body scans, humming or long exhalations, gentle soothing touch to your arms, your face. Okay, you might even try that now. Just feel how that feels. I can just feel nice relaxed feelings when I do that. And this can actually just help generate those feelings of regulation. So those small moments of regulation can add up, and they can make a difference. Think of them as nervous system nourishment. So, number 1, compassion, create safety. Number 2, acknowledge the fear. Number 3, identify the stressors. Number 4, consider other possibilities. Number 5, mentally rehearse things going well. Number 6, put supportive strategies in place. Number 7, regulate before and after the event. I think someone, it might be Ray Lanegan, called it bookending. Okay, bookends. Okay, so before and after. Okay, so I invite you to consider, what's your takeaway from what I've shared today? What is one step that you can take? So living with these conditions for now means that ordinary events require extraordinary self-care and courage. You don't have to do things perfectly. It's important that you support yourself the best you can in each moment. And with these small steps, with mental rehearsal, with deep self-compassion, radical self-compassion, you can move through these moments with more steadiness and trust. I remember going to a wedding when I had ME, and just by practicing all this stuff and doing that song, I managed to. I was active from 11 a.m. in the morning till 1 o'clock or when we left the place, and I felt tired the next few days, but because I was relaxed about it, I recovered more quickly. Okay, so remember, your nervous system is listening. You can listen to your nervous system. Let it know you're safe, you're supported, and we are going gently. So as I said, I'd love to know what your takeaway is, what your action is. So do feel free to leave a comment. And if you like more help, do subscribe. Follow me on YouTube, on Facebook. Lots of playlists on my YouTube channel. If you want more help, I am going to be doing building resilience coaching over the Christmas period weekly. So if you'd like to know more about that, comment group. And I am going to be doing a new Mind Body Reconnect course next year. Okay, so this is where you learn more about the emotional brain, the thinking brain, how when they work together, that can influence our experience of energy, healing, and well-being. So if you'd like to know more about that, comment course and I will send you the information. If you've got any questions, get in touch. Thank you for watching. If you do like this video, do share it with others. Appreciate that. And see you in the next video. Wishing you great health. Dare to dream big dreams and dare to take steps no matter how small. Bye for now.